Nairobi was alive with the hum of its bustling streets, the scent of roasted maize wafting through the air, and the vibrant colors of its markets. Priya, a 20-year-old fourth-generation Indian-Kenyan, had grown up in the heart of Nairobi. Her family, deeply rooted in the city's Indian community, ran a successful textile business. Priya, however, had always felt torn between her Indian heritage and her Kenyan identity. She was studying journalism at the University of Nairobi, eager to explore the world beyond the confines of her tight-knit community. It was at a local art exhibition in Westlands that she met Eddu, a 22-year-old Kenyan artist with a passion for painting and storytelling. Edu's artwork, a vibrant mix of African traditions and modern influences, captivated Priya. She approached him, curious about his inspiration. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, and before they knew it, they were spending hours together, exploring Nairobi and sharing their dreams. Priya and Edu's relationship grew quickly. They spent weekends visiting Maasai markets, where Eddu introduced Priya to the beauty of Kenyan culture, and evenings at Priya's favorite Indian restaurant, where she shared stories of her family's history in Kenya. Eddu loved how Priya's laughter lit up the room, and Priya admired Edu's creativity and his deep connection to his roots. But their happiness was short-lived. When Priya's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Patel, found out about her relationship, they were horrified. "How could you betray your family like this?" Mrs. Patel cried. "We've worked so hard to preserve our culture, and now you're throwing it all away for a boy who doesn't even share our values." Mr. Patel, a traditional man who valued family reputation above all else, demanded that Priya end the relationship immediately. Edu's family wasn't any more accepting. His mother, a deeply superstitious woman, believed that dating someone from a different culture would bring bad luck to their family. "These Indians think they're better than us," she warned. "She'll never truly understand you." Edu's father, a retired teacher, was more pragmatic but equally skeptical. "Love is not enough," he said. "You come from different worlds. How will you make it work?" The couple faced racism and judgment from both sides. Priya's parents accused Eddu of being a gold digger, while Edu's friends teased him for dating an outsider. Strangers on the street would stare at them, whispering comments about their interracial relationship. Despite the challenges, Priya and Eddu refused to give up on each other. They believed their love was stronger than the prejudices surrounding them. The tension reached its peak during a heated argument between Priya and her parents. "You don't understand him," Priya shouted. "He's kind, talented, and he makes me happy. Isn't that what matters?" But her parents were unmoved. "You're being selfish," her father said. "Think about your family, your future. This relationship will only bring you pain." Eddu, too, was struggling. His mother's constant warnings and his father's disapproval weighed heavily on him. He began to question whether he was being fair to Priya by asking her to endure so much hardship. "Maybe they're right," he said one evening, his voice heavy with doubt. "Maybe we're just too different." Determined to prove their love was worth fighting for, Priya and Eddu decided to confront their families together. They organized a dinner, inviting both sets of parents to a neutral space where they could talk openly. The evening was tense at first, with both sides exchanging sharp words and accusations. But as the night went on, something unexpected happened. Priya's mother, who had always been skeptical, noticed how Edu's eyes lit up when he talked about his art and his dreams for the future. She saw the way he looked at Priya, with respect, admiration, and love. Edu's father, too, began to soften as he listened to Priya speak passionately about her studies and her desire to bridge cultural divides. "Maybe," he said, "we've been too quick to judge." Though the road ahead was still uncertain, Priya and Edu's families agreed to give their relationship a chance. It wasn't easy. Old prejudices and superstitions didn't disappear overnight. But slowly, the walls between them began to crumble. Priya's parents started to see Eddu as more than just a foreigner, and Eddu's family began to appreciate Priya's kindness and determination. Priya and Eddu's love became a bridge between their two worlds, proving that even in the face of racism, superstition, and cultural differences, love could prevail. They knew there would be challenges ahead, but they were ready to face them together, one step at a time. Just as Priya and Eddu thought they had overcome the worst of their family's objections, a new challenge emerged. Priya's uncle, a prominent figure in the Indian community, discovered that Eddu's father had been involved in a land dispute with an Indian businessman years ago. The dispute had ended badly, and the businessman had lost his livelihood. Priya's uncle used this information to fuel the flames of discord, accusing Eddu's family of being untrustworthy and opportunistic. Priya's parents, already hesitant, were swayed by the revelation. How can we trust someone whose family has caused so much harm to our community? Mr. Patel demanded. The tension between the families escalated, and Priya found herself torn between her love for Eddu and her loyalty to her family. Eddu, desperate to prove his sincerity, decided to confront his father about the land dispute. To his shock, he discovered that his father had indeed been involved, but the story was more complicated than it seemed. The Indian businessman had manipulated the situation to his advantage, leaving Eddu's father with no choice but to defend his family's land. Eddu's father had carried the guilt of the incident for years, but he had never spoken of it. Eddu shared the full story with Priya, who was devastated by the betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, tears streaming down her face. Eddu, equally heartbroken, could only apologize. "I didn't know how to bring it up," he admitted. "I was afraid of losing you." Priya's parents, now more determined than ever to end the relationship, gave her an ultimatum: break up with Eddu or be disowned. Priya was devastated. She loved her family, but she couldn't imagine a life without Eddu. Eddu, too, was faced with a difficult choice. His mother, convinced that the relationship was cursed, begged him to let Priya go. "You'll only bring pain to both families," she warned. The couple decided to take a break, hoping that time would heal the wounds. But the separation only deepened their longing for each other. Priya threw herself into her studies, while Eddu channeled his emotions into his art. Both struggled to move on, but their love for each other remained strong. Months later, a tragic event brought the families together. Priya's grandmother, who had always been a voice of reason in the family, fell seriously ill. On her deathbed, she called for Priya and Eddu. "Love is the most important thing," she whispered. "Don't let fear and prejudice destroy what you have." Her words struck a chord with both families. Priya's parents, realizing the depth of their daughter's love for Eddu, began to soften. Eddu's family, too, started to see Priya in a new light. The couple's perseverance and commitment to each other finally began to break down the barriers that had kept them apart. With the support of their families, Priya and Eddu decided to start anew. They worked together to address the lingering issues between their communities, organizing cultural exchange events and fostering understanding. Their love became a symbol of hope and unity, inspiring others to look beyond their differences. Years later, Priya and Eddu stood hand in hand at their wedding, surrounded by family and friends from both sides. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. Their love was a testament to the power of perseverance, understanding, and the belief that love knows no boundaries.